but it seems to have disappeared along with the blue M&Ms. So we'll be up and running soon, I'm sure.
Yeah, bloody apple.
Yeah.
Only 4 minutes, 10 left.
Just while Dom's doing that, I think at the end some of you have come along this evening, I'm sure, to enjoy the talks, but also you're looking for some very specific things, some partners to work with, some people like that. We wanted to give an opportunity at the end where we have perhaps 5 minutes or so, just to give you 30 seconds to stand up, say who you want to talk to this evening before we break up and go out and hopefully catch up a bit more. So if you've got anything you want, stick your hand up when we get near the end, and we will let you have a quick shout out for whatever you're looking for. Come on, I feel as long as I can.
You're already a minute in, Dom.
Oh, yeah, there we go. Cool.
Gotta love the Dom.
Okay, so model view, whatever. It looks like I'm missing part of my slides, which is great. Or how I learned to stop worrying and love the DOM, which I'm referring to the document object model, not myself. When I refer to myself in the third person, I generally don't use capital letters. So the document object model, for those who don't know what it is, refers basically to the markup that's in a web page, independently of the JavaScript and the CSS. I apologise if you're not really interested in web development. I do have a slide for you guys later on, so bear with me. I'll try and rattle through this stuff as quickly as I can. So, certainly front-end engineers love single-page applications. It makes us feel like we're building real things rather than just putting posters on the internet. We like to think that our users like them as well. Some of the reasons why they might like them. You can do really complex UIs. A great example would be Google Sheets, Google Docs. This kind of thing is much easier to do well if you structure your application properly. Lots of people have found out that little bits of jQuery, if it's allowed to expand, it often turns into a big horrible mess. Single-page applications help you get through that. They feel really fast, super fast. All you're really doing is adjusting the bits of the markup that have changed when data changes. You're not having to reload loads and loads of assets or any stuff like that. You're not having the page clunking and re-rendering every single time. So it feels really fluid, really smooth, which brings me on to the next thing. People have very high expectations these days, largely predicated on the basis that they're doing most of their computing through their mobile phones, and mobile phones have extremely fluid, smooth, quick user experiences. If the web's to keep up, I think we need to offer comparable experiences to native mobile applications. They have some chance of working offline. It's difficult to do, and beyond Financial Times, we had a guy from the FT as one of our first speakers. Not a lot of people are doing it well, but it is at least possible. And there's lots of cool MVC frameworks, although most of them aren't really MVC at all, which is the first part of my title. They're mostly model view whatever, but I don't really want to talk about them. If you go to JSConf, there's loads of people talking about all that stuff. There's loads of people arguing about Mithril versus Angular versus Backbone, but I don't want to talk about that. I want to talk about the DOM. Because single-page applications have a big, big problem, and it looks like this. This is a very, very broken part of the internet. There is nothing there whatsoever, and most single-page applications are like this. This is, in fact, the white page of death. This page will just be a white screen, and it's all too easy for this to happen with single-page applications. It's a problem that happens all the time. Single-page applications break the web fundamentally, and I quite like the web, and it's a shame. So, some more problems. JavaScript. I'm going to tell you right now, I can't do anything about this for you. You guys are stuck with it. You can go on a voyage of self-delusion with something like CoffeeScript if you want, but it's still JavaScript, and sorry about that. Yeah, initial page load. This is a big problem. JavaScript applications are very, very large. There's no markup there at all to begin with, which means that the user sees a whole load of white screen before anything happens, and it could be quite a long time. The JavaScript payload itself is very large. Often the CSS is large. So it takes a long time. People resort to having loading spinners on their content pages, which is a shame. You often end up with duplicated code if you do attempt server-side rendering. You might have your Ruby or your C# templates as well as your JavaScript ones, which kind of sucks. People who have JavaScript turned off are completely screwed, which is a big problem for accessibility. Internet Explorer, just generally, it's just we all know this, and below IE9, your problem starts to become pretty big. But if you're running a very big business like Amazon, or if you're doing something where the customer is paid up front, like the government digital services, you can't leave those guys behind. You're going to have to serve them something. Even if it's not perfect, but something at least. Deep linking, it's difficult, possible, but difficult, which is a shame because it's a fundamental part of the internet that a URL just works. Yeah, error handling. This is a fundamental issue. If your single page application barfs heavily, often your users are completely screwed. They're stuck because everything that's in your application is JavaScript based. And once the JavaScript runtime has died, that's it, game over. If you're lucky, they're going to refresh the page, but as a usability person will tell you, they're quite likely just to leave, which really sucks. Fortunately, one of the ways around this is the fact that your single page application's SEO is so bad that you're not going to have any users to experience it. So this is really, it's really sad because obviously this is dramatic stuff, but I still love single page applications and I really want to make it work somehow. Fortunately, another way is possible. It's all right, guys. What if it looked like this all the time? This is the document object model. This is markup. What if it looked like this all the time? This is an actual page, no white screen of death. It's got real links and it works. So, the way to do it, firstly, server-side rendering shouldn't sound too revolutionary in 2015, but the key issue is the page there. And it needs to be a fully working page. This means that your URLs have hrefs with actual links in. No hashbangs, no JavaScript void zero, none of that stuff. Actual links that point to actual places. Same with your forms. Your forms need actual actions. They need to be pointing at places on a server where things will actually happen. This is for all your routes, not just your index page, not just the first hit, all of them, every single one. After you've delivered your markup, you can bind the single page application afterwards. If the single page application uses the same markup, and the client and server use the same templates, what you've effectively got here is two web applications built into one. For those people who are not using JavaScript, they will get fully working markup. It's just a web page, nothing fancy, nothing clever. For people who have JavaScript-enabled browsers, they're going to have an awesome experience in game. Good for them. Real forms, real links. There's some other benefits. You must use the exact same templates to avoid the duplicated code. It's possible to do this without using Node.js. Ruby on Rails has a great JavaScript runtime called the Ruby Racer, so you can still render your JavaScript templates on the server without having to use Node, although it's easier if you do. So we avoid the white screen of death. Most importantly, you get error recovery completely for free. If your JavaScript application dies and the markup is valid, when someone clicks a link to try and rescue themselves, it will just redirect them to a different page. It will work just fine. They don't have to refresh the page, nothing. The page still works even after the JavaScript runtime has died. Furthermore, you'll get very cheap and very efficient integration tests. Integration tests are difficult to do with JavaScript applications. You effectively have to fire up a browser and run the application in it. It's very slow. It's very, very brittle. Although the biggest advantage is that you get epic developer gibberish. This approach is called an isomorphic application, which means pretty much nothing to everybody, which you may or may not like. And finally, for those people who aren't interested in web development, here's my dog in a jumper.